Hey, I'm Chaplain Taylor. Considering so many of us are going to be home this weekend during the typhoon, we wanted to give you a resource to give you an opportunity to do some old school house church worship. How long has it been since you were able to let those who love you most spend time with you and get all of your attention? Perhaps you haven't been able to spend time with your significant other or your kids or even with God as much as you would like to. And one good thing to come out of this typhoon is you're going to have an opportunity to be at home and spend time with all of those people. So we came up with some ideas to help you get the most out of your time together. And we believe that God will be glorified this weekend as you intentionally spend time with your family and with Him. All right, so this is the activity portion of the morning. So again, I'm Chaplain Taylor. This is my beautiful wife, Cassie. So the activities that we want to recommend to you go as follows. The first is what we're calling finding time. So we're going to encourage you to have your kids go around the house and find examples of time on things like the microwave, the oven, computers. If you still have a VCR, do the VCR. Phones, watches, as many places as they can find time, do that and make it a competition. The next activity that we're going to recommend involves these here pieces of candy. So
for this activity, you're going to need 24 pieces of something. We use candy corn to celebrate this time of year and be festive. So again, 24 hours in a day.
And the question is, how do you spend your time?
So we have some papers here. We've already kind of divided it up, and this is for kids and probably school-aged kids, maybe even teenagers. And we have already written the number of hours that we have estimated.
Yep.
But what you're going to do is divide your time. So we have time sleeping. That's going to be the majority of all of our days.
So that would take about 9 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's time sleeping.
Then we have time eating, which collectively we estimated 2 hours.
2.
Then over here we kind of have our oddballs. We have screen time, roughly 2 hours, free time, 1 hour, homework time, 1 hour. Now that may differ from each person and each family member. So you guys can work together and figure out.
Yeah, some people may spend a lot more screen time than
Yes.
others, like me.
For each person you can do
All right,
it.
school.
Time to
1,
school,
2,
7 hours
3,
is
4,
an estimate.
5, 6, 7, and then time at just regular extracurricular activities.
Sports.
We're saying roughly 2
hours. Again,
hours.
this could
It can be different
for everybody.
And what we would recommend is maybe screen time instead of 2 hours of screen time. Even if you cut that down to make 15 minutes for God, you just take a little bit out of the screen time to make room for God.
The goal of this is to find time for God. Now, the average person, as we've seen here, doesn't have a built-in allotment for God. So what you're doing, like James so eloquently put it, is trying to find some spare time for God. So again, screen time. Maybe you don't need to spend 2 hours. Maybe you only need to spend an hour or an hour and a half. So you can take that extra 30 minutes or hour every day and devote that time to God and make it an intentional
But we don't recommend that you take kids out of school early or that you
sleep.
Make them lose sleep. So.
But there are other areas where we can figure out how we can spend time.
We'd encourage you on this day to do some intentional free time. Do some games with your kids. Play some games with them. Put together a puzzle. Do some couch karaoke. Make up a dance. Do different things with each other. Thumb wars. Arm wrestling. Puzzles. Do all of those things. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed this segment of how to find time. Okay, so now that we've talked about how to find time for your loved ones and how to find time for God, let's talk about Jesus. Luke chapter 5 verse 16 says that Jesus withdrew from crowds often so that he could go off by himself to pray. Now if Jesus did that, don't you think that it would be smart for us to do the same thing? We have an opportunity every day to be in fellowship and in conversation with God. We can do that by spending some time in solitude, in silence, in silent prayer. And in prayer, we just talk to God, whatever is on our heart. We can read the Bible. I recommend that you just Today, read the 23rd Psalm. Read the Sermon on the Mount in the book of Matthew. Read something and just know that God is going to bless that and God's going to speak to you. Do whatever you can do today to take advantage of the time that you have with God.